everybody, welcome back to my channel, Made with Love. My name is Heather and today I'm going to make a really quick and easy 3-ingredient shortbread cookies. Just gonna move the camera down a little bit. There we go. So I've got my stand mixer and attached to here I've got my flour sifter and a paddle attachment. First thing is 1 cup of butter. It's at room temperature. I brought this out yesterday, so it's been sitting out, for about a good 24 hours. So it's at room temperature. And then just half a cup of icing sugar. And just going to cream this together. It would help if I actually had my mixer plugged in. My thing is, my sifter is going to go because I've got it plugged in, but just going to cream this together for just a couple minutes. I just had this going for just a couple minutes, so I'm just going to scrape down the sides. Just make sure there it's all, the icing sugar and butter is now well mixed together. Now I've got to do my flour, so I need 2 cups of flour. I was going to try to measure this out first, but I kind of forgot. That's okay. I'm just going to put this is my kitchen aid. This is a scale and flour sifter. Sometimes I forget to pull this tray down and line it up properly. So I'm just going to do that now so I don't forget to do that. One thing I like about this is I love to sift my flour, but with this attachment it will sift the flour while it is mixing it all together. Less work for me. Turn this on. I always have trouble getting this to move. Take a few minutes for the flour to get sifted and for it to all get well combined. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes to mix all together and then I'll be back. Okay, so it's been mixing for several minutes. So I'm just going to, this does not want to come off today. I had trouble getting this paddle attachment on and now I can't seem to get it to come off. well, let's scrape this down. Unplug this. I think it's just I can't really use my left hand. I'm having trouble pulling this off. Okay. I'm just going to scrape this. I'm just going to form this into a ball. I'm going to wrap it in saran wrap and set it in the the fridge for a couple hours, or just in the freezer for 20-30 minutes. So I'm just going to, it's very soft dough here. So I'm just gonna form it into a ball, which is already coming out. So I'm just gonna wrap this into some saran wrap, and I'm gonna put it in the freezer for 20-30 minutes just to firm up. So I will be back when I'm ready to roll this out and bake. Okay, so welcome back. I was in the middle of making those shortbread cookies. It's been about 2 weeks. I never got back to finishing making them, so I actually put my dough in the freezer just because I didn't know when I would get a chance to finish making these. I've just been so busy. So my basic recipe is 1 cup of butter, half a cup of icing sugar, and 2 cups of flour. And so like I said, I did that a couple of weeks ago, so that was the first one I made. And then I had, a pound of butter, so a pound of butter is 2 cups. So I had enough to make a second batch of the cookie dough. So I've got 2 batches of cookie dough here. And I've got my oven is preheating, and I've got my cookie sheets. Now when I roll this stuff out, I love to use these silicone cooking mats. So I've got 3 of them. So I'm going to put 1 down, and then I've got this other one here. I didn't like the feel of this one when I'm lifting up my cookies. I don't know, this one, it has this greasy feel to it, not like this one. I don't know, they're just different brands I've purchased. So I prefer to bake on this one. So I'm going to use this one on the top just so I can roll out my cookie dough. I love to do this when you get them on the mats, or if you're not using the mats, I will roll my dough completely out on my cookie sheets as well. So then I can just do this step in one easy motion. I love to making things where it's less steps. I'm just going to move this because this is now off the mat. And then I have these really cool cookie cutters that I love for shortbread cookies. So I got this one here, and it does square, 12, 14. This one makes 14 square, and this one makes 15 round. I'm going to make the round cookies today, just because I like my cookies all being like the same size and shape. But I have done it in the past where I'll make a mix of them, and this should just lift up easily. Shouldn't really do that. I think my dough might just be a little too thick in the center here. Okay, but it does happen. I'm just going to push these out. I'm just going to grab, so we're going to use this one sheet, but the way it's rolling, I'm just going to put this sheet down on the pan here. put these on my cookie sheet. And I said this is just a really quick, easy recipe. I love these cookies where they're easy to make. These ones, of all the shortbread cookies I've made, I find this recipe just the best. They're just so easy to bake, so easy to make, and they just melt in your mouth. So I'm just gonna roll all this dough out. It's kind of stuck. I'm just gonna grab my little spatula here so I can lift these up. Just like I said, one of these rolls of dough, I don't know which is which. One of them was in the freezer for the last 2 weeks. The other one I just made 2 days ago. So, and I'll say this dough freezes really well. I just give it a day sitting in the fridge to come back up to like from frozen. Now I did put them on the counter, this dough on the counter overnight, just so that it would not be frozen as much or as cold. I'm just gonna keep rolling this dough and getting my cookies out, and I've got my oven preheating it to 350 degrees. So I don't know how many cookies I'm gonna get. It kind of depends on how thick you roll it out and the size of your cookies. And I do find that using these little cookie cutters, I actually get more cookies than I would normally do if I was just eyeballing. And I love my little cookie spatulas here. I've got another one and it's a bit bigger. I'm using this little Christmas one I got last year for Christmas. So there we go. Oops. Just trying to get some of this extra dough off the sides. There's my oven saying it's preheated, and I've got my first pan of cookies ready to go in the oven. So I'm going to get this one in the oven. I'm going to start making the second batch and getting that in the oven, and then I will be back. Alright, so my first batch is already out of the oven. It's been out for a few minutes, so the pan is almost cool to the touch. So I'm just going to lift these up, and I love, like I said, this baking mat. They come right off so easily. My cookies are cooked perfectly, and then it takes I think it was 8 minutes for this batch to cook. My other batch should be out. I've got less than a minute left on the timer for my second batch of cookies, and then right in front of me here I've got another 2 batches ready to go in. I just only have 2 cookie sheets at the moment, so I definitely need either a larger cookie pan or another cookie pan. And then using these, I got these at a Liquidation World place here in town for $1.50, I think it was. But they have these small spaces between, like it's easy to get the bigger chunks out from the top, but there's these smaller gaps in here and the dough gets stuck. So I just use the butter knife because it seems to be thinner than the regular knife, but anything. And I just kind of scrape at it to get most of that cookie dough off. Now there's cookie dough in there, but there's not enough left on here to even make a cookie, so I'm not worried about the little bits of cookie dough that is stuck in here. I do find if I actually put this in flour, then I don't get as much dough stuck in, but I just wanted to make these kind of fast today, so I didn't even bring my flour out. My cookie dough was actually sticking to my rolling pin because my hands are kind of greasy from doing this, and I just didn't run over to the pantry to grab any flour. So I'm just gonna put these on a cookie sheet to get my last 2 batches in the oven. I've got like 5 seconds left before my timer is supposed to go off. So I will just quickly put these on the cookie sheet, get the other 2 pans in the oven, and I'll be back when all of them are cooked. Alright, so my last 2 pans just came out of the oven. I've got a few that kind of squished and kind of, stick to each other. But for the most part, this recipe doesn't seem to lose its shape. Like when I make these shortbread cookies and I want them round, they kind of really stay in their round shape. Now there's a few that are like off-centered, or a little oval shaped. That's probably from when I rolled them out, and then I used my lifter here to get under the dough to put them on the cookie sheet, and sometimes doing that kind of makes the cookies a little misshapen. Or even when they do bake, occasionally they do, lose their shape a little bit, but I'd say for the most part, I got like 116, pretty round little cookies here. I'm just gonna get all these lifted up, and I'm gonna let them cool, and then I'm going to put them in my little cookie jar I've got. One more rack, so you got a lot of cookies cooling when you're at like 4 racks high, and you still have like 1.5 cookie sheets to get the cookies off of. So maybe this top one, I'm gonna have the cookies a little bit closer together. The bottom ones, when I first lift them up, I usually have them spaced out to help cool them faster. But now I just want to get these ones off of here, and then I can put them in the cookie jar. And I can say they smell so good. Now if I had chocolate, I would dip these in chocolate and dip them in sprinkles. I love to do that, or icing or something, but I'm gonna leave these just as they are, just as pure shortbread cookies for now. There goes my oven mitt. It's dirty now, it's on the floor. It landed on my cat is behind me, my dog is beside me, so not sure where it went. So I'm gonna kind of probably burn my finger trying to lift up the last pan here. Just want to get these off the pan so they can kind of cool for a few minutes. And I'm just going to move this. So this is the hot one. This one's also hot. Get these off of here. So there's a few that kind of got stuck a little bit, but they break apart pretty easily. I'd say each pan took between 8 and 10 minutes. Give or take. I mean, I had my timer set for 5 minutes and then another 3 minutes, and then that one I had to put back in for a couple more minutes, I think, because some of the cookies were a little thicker than other ones. And here is my cookie jar I have. It's a nice gumball cookie jar. I got this one for, I think it's like a $40 cookie jar. I got it for almost free. I just washed it out. I just saw a little bit of water inside still. And I'm just gonna put my cookies in here. Now, if I was smart, I would probably, sometimes when I don't have a lot of cookies, I will put something in here so the cookies can sit on, so they're a little bit up higher, so easier for people to reach the cookies. But these ones, it's fine. I don't have little kids at home anymore. I also used to have like store-bought cookies at the bottom, and then the homemade cookies were put on the top. My kids usually went for the homemade first, unless they were like the chocolate double stuffed Oreo cookies. These ones are still a little bit hot, but they're all still kind of warm, so they will cool in here. I'm not too worried. I'm not going to put the lid on. I'm just going to get them all in here to see how many I've made. So this is a double batch. cookies. So like I said, so my basic recipe is 1 cup of butter, and for shortbread cookies I will always make it with butter, not margarine. You could make it with margarine. I've just never done that, because I usually do shortbread cookies like as a Christmas kind of a treat, so I will spend a little bit more on the actual butter. You know, as part of my, you know, baking, you know, Christmas baking, you know, budget. So I don't know if they'll taste any different if you make them with margarine. But so it's 1 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of icing sugar, and 2 cups of flour. There we go. I got like the cookie jar is about a good half full, which is really good considering the size of the cookies. So it's 116 little cookies in here. Now I'm going to try one. Like I said, this was a double batch, and like I said, one was made about 2 weeks ago and was sitting in the freezer. The other one was a fresh one I made 2 days ago. They just melt in your mouth. They're really good. These are the type of cookies I love with dipping in tea. But I also love to dip these in like chocolate, so you half dip them in chocolate or drizzle chocolate and sprinkles and candies and stuff. I love doing that too. Or my other cookie cutters, I've got the ones that have the shapes that cut out, so then you kind of color the dough a little bit and you can get really, you know, creative for cookies. But again, it's just a very simple, easy, basic, you know, 3 ingredient cookie recipe. They're really good. I'm just going to set the lid on just for now so I don't drop the lid on the floor. Again, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody who's subscribing to my channels and watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next ones. Bye.